What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. Today, we are here for the Week 15 Start Sit Stream Sunday morning. It is the fantasy football playoffs. Hopefully you guys are locked and loaded, ready to go. Hopefully you don't even have to worry about this week with a bye week, but if you do, I got all the questions for you today that I'm going to be answering. I see we got a couple people in the chat already. Steven, Nate, Mark, appreciate you being here early. Let's just hop right into it. Steven, pick one for my flex for PPR. You got McConkey, James Cook, Najee, AJ Brown. Also, I'm thinking of running Dowdle for my second flex option. Okay, so look. I think here I'm going to be going with AJ Brown as the number one flex here. I don't mind you running Dowdle as the second flex option. I think right now in my rankings, I have AJ the highest. Dowdle would be my second. The only guy right there next to them would be McConkey. So McConkey would be in consideration, but I think AJ and Dowdle would be my two plays there. So those would be the guys for me. Nate, with the weather in Cleveland, should I bench Mahomes for Goff? I think so. I would be playing Goff. I have him ahead of Mahomes in my rankings this week. That's not even accounting for the weather. The weather could be a little bit nasty. It's still kind of up in the air. You got maybe some chance of rain, maybe some wind, but it's still up in the air at the moment. But yeah, I'd be playing Goff over Mahomes. Mark says, second question of the day, Devonta Smith or Keon Coleman in the flex. Smith has a tough matchup, and there's the A.J. Brown narrative, and Coleman is fresh off the injury. This one's not close to me. I'd be going Devonta Smith over Keon Coleman. I just feel much more confident with him in the lineup right now than Keon. Julian says, good morning, Laporta or Hawkinson. I'm going to go with Laporta. I think Laporta is the better play when I'm looking at my tight end rankings right now for the week, and that's assuming that this is PPR. I currently have Laporta as my tight end 5, and Hawkinson is my tight end 6. So there's room for both of these guys to have good days. I think Laporta is the guy that I would end up going with, though. What else? Alenda, need one to start Superflex League, Dowdle or Hubbard? This is a really good question. I can't even remember who I have higher in my rankings. I love multi matchups for both players. I think Chuba's going to be my guy, though. Chuba, I currently have as my running back 7. Dowdle, I have him not that high. He's running back 13. So I would be going with Alenda for sure. I said I'd be going with Alenda. I'd be going with Chuba Alenda. Demetrios, good morning. I have 2 flex spots to fill, full PPR. Who do I start? Tyrone Tracy, Najee Harris, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Jaden Reed, or Njoku if he's healthy. 2 flex spots for me, full PPR. I'm going to go with the highest upside plays here to me are Amari Cooper, Jaden Reed, but I think they have like very minimal floors. I like Tyrone Tracy's matchup. He's a guy that I'd consider playing. I think I'm going to go Jaden Reed and Tyrone Tracy as my 2 plays here. Says Njoku is out. Did we just get news of that? Let me check, because I've been waiting on that news all day. Yes, David Njoku's out. Will not be playing today. Unfortunate. Tony Pollard and Breece Hall are in, though. Jake says, well, today's kind of a tough day since my mom passed away 18 years ago, and we don't play till tomorrow night. But that said, for a flex, Vele or ETN. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully, everything ends up being a decent day overall at the end of the day. So, thinking of you, Jake. Appreciate you. And for the flex, I think I'm going to go with Vele over ETN. That would be what I would be doing. Also, Darnold or Mahomes, I'm going to go Darnold. TD Flip, send that thumbs up for the algorithm, mofos. Love to hear that. What else we got here? Brando, Chiefs or Broncos defense? I'll go with the Chiefs defense. Jacob, trade 2 mid to late seconds for Sharp. 12-team Superflex full PPR with 16-man bench, so wire is slim. Trade 2 mid to late seconds for Sharp. I mean, look, if you're a team that's trying to go for the playoffs, there's a chance that Sharp is just sitting here winning you the week. When I look at where I have him in my rankings this week, I have him as a top 12 guy. He's going to be a running back 1 on the week for me this week. So, too late, mid to late seconds, that's not a huge price to pay. If that's going to get you the dub this week and that can be done and that can, get you a win, I'm not opposed to it at all, Jacob. So you just got to weigh those risks. Is it actually going to push you over the edge? If it's not, who knows? But I'd probably be doing it if I could. TD, what up, boss? PPR, considering starting BTJ with Ingram out, especially now over Adams, Judy, Higgins, and Myers. Who should I bench? Also, same team. Should I bench Pitts for Brenton Strange? Okay, so we got lots of options to consider here. Considering starting BTJ, especially now over Adams, Judy, Higgins, and Myers. So, I'll tell you, of those guys right now, full PPR, and excuse me, guys, my voice is going to be in and out. I'm a little bit sick right now, so my voice is in and out throughout the day. Higgins is my highest in the rankings of all of these players. So, I have Higgins as wide receiver 7. Following that, I have Adams as wide receiver 15. Did you say Judy? Judy is wide receiver 19. Myers is wide receiver. Where did I have Jacoby Myers? Wide receiver 29, and Brian Thomas is wide receiver 28. So for me, I probably would not be playing BTJ. According to my rankings, I'm going T. Higgins and Devontae Adams. Those would be the 2 wide receivers that I play personally. So who should I bench? Right now in my rankings, Myers is the lowest of all of those guys just by 1 spot. But I think his matchup is better than Brian Thomas Jr. So it's between BTJ and Myers that I'd be benching. Also, for the tight end, Brenton Strange or Kyle Pitts. I just don't have Brenton Strange that high in my rankings. I think we're at a point right now where benching Kyle Pitts sounds like a good thing to do. But I have Kyle Pitts as my tight end 19 on the week. Brenton Strange is my tight end. Where is this guy? 32. Tight end 32 on the week for Brenton Strange. There's plenty of other waiver wire options I think I'd play over Kyle Pitts right now. Assuming that you can find these guys on the waiver wire and you can pick them up. I'd play Stone Smart over Kyle Pitts. Juwan Johnson is a guy that I'd play over Kyle Pitts. Freiermuth, Dalton Schultz, Zach Ertz, Hunter Henry. These are guys that I'd play. Some of those top guys that I mentioned probably are not on the waiver wire, but I'd play Stone Smart over those guys. I'd consider playing Grant Calcaterra over Kyle Pitts, but I don't know if I'd go Brenton Strange. Maybe if you want to. They're kind of all the same at that point, right? White or Pollard? I think I'm gonna go Pollard. I like Pollard's matchup just more this week. When I'm looking at my rankings for these 2 guys, Pollard is currently my running back 14, and Rachaad White is my running back 22. So I like the matchup a little bit better for Pollard. He plays Cincinnati. Rachaad White plays the Los Angeles Chargers. That's a little bit of a tougher matchup. Probably just going to lean with Pollard there. Start Ramondre or Breece. The matchup is too good, I think, for Breece Hall for me to bench him. The matchup's pretty solid for Ramondre as well, but I think I'm just going to be playing Breece Hall. Here's the thing, and this is going to be my advice for Breece. And if anybody feels differently, feel free to do what you wish with your rosters. But Breece Hall's one of those running backs that, one, if he's playing, I'm probably just throwing him in my lineup. I understand that he's been a little bit disappointing this year based on where you drafted him in your draft. But he's one of those running backs that if he's playing, the workload typically is heavy, and so I'm just going to get him in my lineup. You mix that with the fact that, yeah, he's a little bit banged up, so maybe a little bit of the workload comes down, but it balances it out because that Jacksonville matchup is so good. They're second to last in the NFL against the running back position. They should be able to run the football fairly well, and he should have some touchdown opportunities potentially in this game. The only thing you risk is re-aggravation. So if you can't deal with the idea of him going out and re-aggravating the injury, go for the other option. But I'll tell you that there's risk with every player that you put in your lineup that they're going to get hurt. There's a chance that Ramondre goes out there and gets hurt. So if you're worried about the injury, I don't know what to tell you at this point. He's active. He's in the game. I'm playing him in my lineup. Right now, I just have him, like I said, I have him in my rankings as a running back 2. It's the same thing as Ramondre Stevenson, but I think he has more upside than a guy like Ramondre. So that's who I'd be playing. But like I said, if you can't deal with the volatility, I think Ramondre is maybe the safer option. Uncle Fresh, full PPR bench, 1 Monty, Chase Brown, Sharp, and Breece. So with these options, a lot of these options are really, really good options. I have Sharp as a top 12 guy. Chase Brown is a top 12 guy to me. In fact, Chase Brown's a top 5 guy. And then Monty, to me, this week is a top 15 guy. So I would bench Brees here because you have 3 really good options, top 15 running backs. So I would play Sharp, Chase Brown, and Monty. Some kind of Cadwallader. Good morning, all. Kyler or Sammy D, 0.1 per rush and 0.5 per rushing first down is the only thing giving me pause on Darnold. Yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting, actually, because I think that makes me lean towards Kyler Murray as well. I like Sam Darnold's matchup. I have him and Kyler back-to-back in my rankings. I know that Chicago's kind of a tougher matchup, but Sam Darnold, last time that they played, he had a pretty decent day. With those settings, though, the 0.1 per rush and the 0.5 per rushing first down, I'm going Kyler Murray, man. Because they're back-to-back in my normal rankings, when you give him that extra bonus for the rushing, I'm just going to go with Kyler. Ferguson or Hunter Henry. Both of these guys are very close. I currently have Ferguson as tight end 12. Hunter Henry is my tight end 9. I'm going to go Hunter Henry in this situation. Linda says, with Njoku and Tillman out and weather conditions, I have Winston in my QB wide receiver running back tight end spot. Should I bench Winston and start Rico or keep Winston in that spot? Here's the thing. Jameis Winston's always going to continue throwing the football. He's going to just throw the football no matter who's there. Judy's still there. Elijah Moore's still there. He's probably going to be slinging that thing. Even when he was in the game with Pittsburgh Steelers in the snow, he was still trying to sling it. I think he finished with like 15, 16 points in that game, if I'm remembering correctly off the top of my head. I like Rico's matchup this week. Rico's going to be a very safe floor. I think with the weather and I think with the guys out, it's not enough to make me bench Jameis Winston in a super flex. I think I'm still going to play Jameis Winston. Vegas Sinatra, my guy, he says Herbert or Mahomes. Well, we did have a little bit of news about weather conditions in Kansas City right now. So there are going to be some winds. There are going to be some rain in that game. If it were me, I'd be playing Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's matchup against Tampa Bay, they are 32nd dead last in the NFL against opposing quarterbacks. Currently have Justin Herbert as my QB9. Patrick Mahomes is my QB14. Should be a decent matchup for Mahomes as well, but like I said, the weather's going to play a role. I'm just going to play Justin Herbert in that situation. Tunchi, I was deaf wrong on thinking Sharp would bust last week. 2 questions this week. Otten or Ferguson, PPR, and Tyrone Tracy or Devonta Smith, half PPR. Okay, I'm going to go Ferguson in the PPR, and I'm going to go Tyrone Tracy in the half PPR. I like Devonta Smith still. The matchup for Otten is really bad this week. I'm probably not going to be playing Otten really in many situations right now, unless I need a guy. But, yeah, I'd go Ferguson and Tyrone Tracy. Those would be my 2 plays. Half PPR, pick one. Amari, Devonta, Hopkins. Okay, so looking at these 3 guys in my rankings as well, Amari Cooper currently is... Where do I have him? Why can I not find him? There's no way he's down this far. Amari Cooper's my wide receiver 35. DeAndre Hopkins, my wide receiver 39. Devonta Smith's my wide receiver 40. So I am going to be playing, according to the ranks, Amari Cooper. I just look at these matchups here. Amari Cooper gets Detroit. They're 26th. DeAndre Hopkins gets Cleveland's 28th, but we did talk about a little bit of the weather. And then Devonta Smith plays the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're 8th. So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I'm going Amari Cooper here in that format. Garrett Wilson or Adam Thielen, PPR. I'm going to go Garrett Wilson here. I still think he's a very safe play. Garrett Wilson or Malik Neighbors. These guys are a lot closer in the rankings. I still go Garrett Wilson. Right now, Malik Neighbors, he's still a little bit banged up. Obviously, bad quarterback play. It's tough to trust Malik Neighbors, but he's still going to be safe, I think, enough. He's just a wide receiver 2, in my opinion. I think Garrett Wilson's more close to a wide receiver 1. Fabian, 2 QB league. Which one are you benching this week? Jaden Daniels, Tua, or Kyler? I'm going to bench Tua in this situation. I'll play Kyler and Jaden Daniels. Some kind of Cadwallader says half PPR, Kraft or Andrews. Andrews has been great, but worried about the passing volume today. Yeah, I mean, that's something to be... I'm not super worried about it. I still have Andrews as a top 8 option. They play the New York Giants. I think he still could get into the end zone on this one. Kraft, to me, he's a top 12 play. It should be a little bit of a closer game, though. So if you're worried about volume, I'm probably going to be going with Andrews still. He has the higher upside, I think, in a format like this. Devin, should I cuff Derrick Henry with Justice Hill or stash Ray Davis by this week? I would be picking up Ray Davis for sure, because if Derrick Henry goes down, I don't imagine that they're going to bell cow Justice Hill. You still have Keaton Mitchell. You still have some of these other guys. It's going to be ugly if Derrick Henry goes down. I think Ray Davis is just the better stash at this point, because if James Cook goes down, Ray Davis will get a heavy workload. I can't say the same thing for Justice Hill. Vegas Sinatra says Vegas Sinatra or the Forever War. Folks at home, Forever Wars, Let's Talk Dynasty. That's MFGDs. Who do I think is going to win, Vegas Sinatra or the Forever War? I have no idea, to be honest. I think that's going to be the closest game in our league this week. You have some firepower, though. I think I'm going to lean you in this matchup. Need to start one. Ladd, Ridley, or Keenan Allen. Full PPR. Give me Ladd McConkey in this one. Fabian says, thanks, brother. One more question. You going Hawk or Kelsey for tight end? Great question. I got Kelsey right now as my tight end 3 on the week. Hawkinson is my tight end 5. I'm going to go Travis Kelsey over Hawkinson, but both of these guys should be smash plays, top 5 plays at the tight end position this week. All right. We are caught up with the questions. Appreciate everybody being in here this morning, dropping those final start sits. I see TD Flip or Brando in here with a question right here. He actually says, wait, isn't the Chiefs game in Cleveland, not Kansas City? It's at Cleveland. Yes, it's at Cleveland. But they are saying that there's going to be some wind and rain. Did we say it was in Kansas City? I don't know. Maybe somebody said that. I don't know. It's in Cleveland. TD Flip. In my half PPR, Purdy put up 3 points for me. That is tough. Should I consider Jameson or Shakir over Tracy for more boom potential? Probably not. It feels like Tracy is just as much of boom or high floor guy as those guys. So I don't think those guys have the ability. Shakir and Jameson, they don't feel like the guys that have the ability to go out and give you a 30 or a 40-point week, like a really big boom week. So I think you're just playing floor with these guys for the most part. I think they all have similar ceilings. Shakir feels like a guy who could give you 20, 25. Jameson could give you 20, 25 on a good week. But Tracy could do the same thing, 20, 25 on a good week. So I would definitely be playing Tracy still. James Cook or JMO, isn't Detroit run D good? Yes, they are a good run defense. When you look at the Detroit Lions run defense, they currently sit as the second best in the NFL, only giving up 15 fantasy points per game. When it comes to him and JMO, though, I'm still probably going to play James Cook. He just feels like a safer option. JMO, he's a boom-bust guy, man. He's going to give you 4 catches, 3 catches maybe for a couple yards, somewhere between like 50 and 60. Or if he catches the long touchdown, then he gives you the boom week. I have him as my wide receiver 36 on the week. I would not be playing, the wide receiver 36 over the running back 18 in my rankings. So I'd just go James Cook, even though the defense is good. Brando says, you said KC. That's why I was confused. Okay, yeah. No, Kansas City plays at Cleveland. Some kind of Cadwallader says, appreciate you, Andrew. I appreciate you. And then TD Flip says, thanks for hooking us up weekly. Appreciate you. I appreciate you, TD. Means a lot being here. Thank you. What else we got, man? I just realized, TD, it's probably not actually, maybe it is. Isn't TD Flip, wasn't he like a Madden YouTuber while back. I know he took a break for a while. This ain't the real TD, is it? Is this TD flip for real? Kevin, Goff or Darnold. Also, JMO or Judy with the bad weather. Okay. Goff or Darnold. Also, JMO or Judy with the bad weather. I think I'm going to go Darnold and Judy here. Judy still has the bad weather, but he's with Tillman and Njoku out. He's still going to get a lot of footballs coming his way. So I'm going to go with Darnold and Judy here. Jay, sit one. Marv, JMO, Devonta Smith. So Marv's going to be in the lineup no matter what. I'm going to play JMO probably over Devonta Smith. And he'll be the guy that I sit. I sit Devonta. All right. Well, as those other questions come through, I see we got G6. He says, hey, bro, sorry it's a long one. Start one, Bucky, Keenan, Reed, Hopkins, or Devonta Smith. Start one, Tua Hurts. Start two. So we'll break it down. We'll go one by one. Start one with Bucky, Keenan, Reed, Hopkins, or Devonta Smith. So it's between Reed and Bucky. For me, I think I'm going to go with Bucky here. I think I'll play Bucky. Then we'll go start one, Tua or Hurts. I'm going to go Hurts. Start two, Najee, Rico, Tracy, Mooney. I'm going to go Rico. And Tracy. And then start one, A.J. Brown, Brees, Garrett Wilson. I'm going to go A.J. Brown. Start one, Kraft or Ferguson. I'm going Kraft. So hopefully you got all of that, G6. I'm going Bucky, Hurts, Rico and Tracy, A.J. Brown, and Kraft. Those are going to be my plays. Vegas Sinatra says, random question. Heisman winner Travis Hunter, top 5 fantasy talent. Potentially. I mean, I was actually just looking at some of my early Dynasty rookie rankings in 2025 yesterday. I was thinking about it and where I would lay these guys out. I actually sent a text message to MFGDs. I'll read it. I have tier 1 for me right now, the top 3 picks in the draft, and obviously there's a lot of time to change this. It would be Ashton Jeanty, Shador Sanders, and Tedero McMillan. Those are kind of my top 3 prospects at the moment. I have them in a tier 1. My tier 2 is Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, and Omarion Hampton. So those would be my top 6 guys. To answer this question the long way, yes, I think he's going to end up being a top 5 pick in your dynasty drafts. Travis Hunter will end up being there. The only thing that gives me pause, man, I want to know, does he want to play both sides of the field at the NFL level? Does he want to play the wide receiver position, or does he just want to play corner? Because there is a little bit of risk with that. But I do think he's going to be a top 5 guy currently right now in my rankings. We'll see what happens as the offseason progresses. Juan says, who for my flex and a running back 2? I got Justin Jefferson at wide receiver 1 and already put in Kyron at RB1 and Kittle at tight end on my bench. Zach Charbonnet, Ramondre Stevenson, Brees, Kenneth Walker, Juwan Jennings. Okay, so here it is. Who to flex at an RB2? I would go Zach Charbonnet as your running back 2. Your flex, I'm going to go I think your flex, I'm going to go Brees Hall. So Brees Hall and Zach Charbonnet would be my plays, Juan. Dylan, full PPR, lost K9 this week. Need 1 running back, 1 flex, 1 tight end out of the below. The running backs are Bucky Irving, McLaughlin, Braylon Allen. Okay, so I'm playing Bucky. Wide receivers, JMO, Devonta Smith. Okay, so at the flex position, I'm going to play J-Mo. So I'm going to go Bucky, J-Mo, and then tight ends, you got Ertz, Schultz, Mayer, Muth. Give me, it's between Ertz and Muth. Where do I have these guys in my rankings? Because I could use that Terry McLaurin as a tiebreaker. But I think it's just going to end up being Ertz for me. Yeah, I'm going to go Ertz anyways. It's going to go Ertz, J-Mo, and Bucky. Not your average Joe. I got Amon-Ra, Terry, Tyreek, Monty, Saquon, and Sharp. I can start all but one. Who do you think? Okay. So, I mean, you want to get all of these guys in your lineup. I think the lowest guy in my rankings right now is, where do I have him? Obviously, Saquon's at the top. I got Amon-Ra towards the top. It might be Monty. I think Monty's going to be the guy that I end up sitting. But I don't want to sit Monty. You got a good-ass team, man. Yeah, I'm probably going to sit Monty, and I'm going to play Charbonnet over him. The only other guy that I would consider benching would maybe be McLaurin, but I don't want to bench him either. I think you got to bench Monty. That's a tough one, man, just because your team's so good, but I'm going to bench Monty. Kyler or Bo Nix? I'm going to go Kyler this week. G6, I had those exact starts. Only thing I was different on was Najee or Tracy. Yeah, I think those would be the two guys that I was debating on as well. I just think the matchup for Najee is kind of tough this week. Najee, Philly's third, Baltimore's ninth, so it's not really much better for Tyrone, but I just have him one spot above. It would be Tracy for me. Start two, Breece, Neighbors, Thielen, Addison. Okay. I'm probably going to be going with... I think I'm going to go Neighbors. And it's between Breece and Addison. I think Neighbors and Addison is what I'm going to do. If you need the boom, if you need a... Yeah, I'm just going to go Neighbors and Addison. Belinda says, full PPR league. If Ladd is out, who do I start? Rachaad White or Darnell Mooney? I think I would lean Rachaad White there. Jacob says, do the Vikes bring Sammy D back one more year? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. Everybody, that's kind of been the narrative on the internet right now is like, what's going to happen with Sam Darnold? I think Sam Darnold has played well enough that he's going to end up getting a contract somewhere else that Minnesota's not going to pay. I think, look, we've done the middle of the pack quarterback, making $30, $40, $50 million a year for 8 years. I mean, there's a reason why they moved on from Kirk Cousins. They went to a rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. The benefit of having a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract and being able to pay a bunch of people around you and build the roster out from there, there's a huge benefit to that. A lot of these teams, that's how you get into those big winning windows. You've seen San Francisco do that with Brock Purdy. You saw the Chiefs do that with Mahomes for a while. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. And I think the Vikings want to do that as well. So J.J. McCarthy, I think he's going to be a stud. I mean, if you look at what Kevin O'Connell has done for Sam Darnold, you have to look at J.J. McCarthy and say the ceiling is probably higher than what Sam Darnold has. So I'm probably still going to play J.J. McCarthy. Sam Darnold, he's going to earn some money. I think he's done very good for the Minnesota Vikings. I think he's going to earn some money. He's going to go play somewhere. I think some potential destinations, maybe he ends up getting to a place like maybe the Los Angeles Rams. Maybe he's a backup option or a bridge option potentially from Matthew Stafford to Sam Darnold. Similar offense. Kevin O'Connell came from that. That would be probably a really good spot. There's a couple other places that he could go to as well, but I don't end up thinking that he ends up staying in Minnesota unless he takes a massive pay cut from what the general market value is going to be, and probably understand that he's going to be the backup quarterback, not the starting quarterback. Cam, pick 2 at flex this week and drop 1 for the rest of the season because Downs returns off IR. JSN, Brian Robinson, Flowers, Thielen, Downs, and Hopkins. I don't want to drop any of these guys, but I think the guy that you drop is probably it's probably Hopkins. it's him or Downs. Those would be one of the drops for me. But pick 2 at flex. I'm going to go with JSN and Jason and B-Rob. Those are going to be my 2. Got a super chat in here. Appreciate the super chat. Question is, start 2, AJ Brown, Kamara, and Dowdle. It's 0.5 PPR and projected to be very similar in points to my opponent. I've heard a lot of other upside on the roster with Gibbs, Nico, and JJ. Okay, so we're going to pick the 2. AJ Brown, Kamara, and Dowdle. I'm going to go Kamara and AJ Brown. Those are going to be the 2 that I play. Dowdle's going to end up being the guy that doesn't start, but I think we're due for an AJ Brown week, so I'm going to go him and Kamara. Cam said, right now I'm leaning drop Hopkins and start BTJ and JSN. Okay, so, yeah, I mean, we both agreed probably drop the Hopkins. I would go Brian Robinson Jr. and JSN. That's exactly what I said. So, yeah, we would be the same way. I think I just said Brian Thomas the first time instead of Brian Robinson. Yeah, we felt the same way, Cam. Yo, Waddle, Marvin Harrison Jr. or Flowers? This is a good question, man. I can't really remember off the top of my head where all these guys sit. I think right now, Marvin is currently sitting at wide receiver 34. Jalen is wide receiver 31. And who's the other one? Flowers. Flowers is sitting as wide receiver 22. So I'm going to go Zay Flowers here as my play. And it would be in order of Flowers, Waddle, Marvin Harrison. Bucky, BTJ, Waddle, or Thielen. I'm going to go with, I think I'm going to be trying to get Bucky in my lineup. If it's not Bucky and you don't want to risk Bucky because he could get banged up again, the highest wide receiver that I have of those options available would be Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is the highest option. I would play him over all of those guys. Daniel says, Waddle, Marvin Harrison Jr., or Flowers rest of season. I think I lean with Flowers rest of season as the guy. Arizona or Atlanta defense. I'm going to go with... I think I'm going to go with Atlanta's defense in this one. Not Your Average Joe says, I played Jennings like a dope and didn't look at the weather, and yeah, I was leaning Monty on the bench. Okay, I mean, there we go, man. And to be honest... that weather was somewhat surprising to me, too. I knew that there was a chance of it, but I didn't expect it to get that nasty. It got kind of nasty, and it was just a bad day of weather all around. It just turned out to be a bad Thursday night game. RSG, full PPR. You got McCormick or ETN? Wow. I think I lean McCormick here, man. I'd probably end up playing him over ETN. ETN is not very high in my rankings, man. I got ETN as... running back 33, I got McCormick as running back 28. It's not a good matchup for McCormick, but I'd probably just play him over ETN because he's going to see probably a better workload than ETN. Not Your Average Joe says, where can I see your rankings? So right now my rankings are on Fantasy Pros. I'm technically a Fantasy Pro, whatever the hell that means. So I do my rankings over there. You could probably just search up my name. It's Andrew Mott. M-O-T-T is the last name. So you could probably search that up. If you can't find them on there, we're working on next season, once we get there, building out a website. And hopefully I have a website where we can just see those rankings 24/7, 365. And if you're like a member of the Discord or something, you get access to those rankings. So we're working on that for next season. But right now, all of my rankings are over on Fantasy Pros. You probably just have to search my name, Andrew Mott, M-O-T-T. James says 2 wide receivers and a flex. Thielen, Westbrook, Cooper, Pittman, Dell, Swift, Wan'Dale Robinson, McLeod. 2 wide receivers and a flex. I'm going to go Thielen and Swift as one of the wide receivers in the flex. And I think I'm going to go Cooper. So we're going to go Thielen, Cooper, Swift as the 3. Dixon says... Hawkinson or Laporta? I think we had somebody ask this exact question earlier in the day of Hawkinson or Laporta. These guys are both very close in my rankings. I lean Sam Laporta. I think there's going to be a little bit more passing in that game, but Both of them are back-to-back in my rankings. The matchup, if you just want to look at the matchup and not projected game scripts, technically Chicago is worse against the tight end position than Buffalo, but I still lean Laporta. Cam says, pick a defensive special teams this week. You got Green Bay versus Seattle, Chargers versus Tampa Bay. Appreciate you, broski. So I'm gonna go with Chargers versus Tampa Bay. Right now they're my defensive special team number 7, and for Green Bay I have them as like 14. So we'll end up going with the Chargers there. And speaking of which, while we're waiting on these final questions, because we're about at 40 minutes. So for the last little bit, we're gonna build out a DraftKings lineup over on DraftKings, and we're gonna keep answering questions. So if you have questions, keep throwing them in the chat. But I'm gonna build one out for us as well. I got an idea for a team that I wanted to put together, so I'll get that set up and we'll do that, and that'll kind of be our last stuff that we do over here. So you should be able to see this now. That is not what I wanted to do. 1 second, we're gonna have to go back here. It is hold on. This one? That is much better. Okay, so this is where we're at. Here's the DraftKings lineup. We're playing in that 700K play action, so we will do this one. I did have some guys in mind. Let me close this as well. I got way too many tabs open over here. Whatever, we'll leave it. So when I'm looking at potential quarterback plays this week, you got CJ Stroud versus Miami that I like as a DFS option. I like Drake May versus Arizona as well. So those are two guys that we could kind of be looking at. If you go the CJ Stroud route, you could potentially be stacking him with guys like Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz. Drake May's a little bit tougher. You got guys like Kendrick Bourne, Hunter Henry, Kayshon Boutte. I would probably say maybe Hunter Henry is a decent play. So we could maybe we build 2 around those options. This one, building it around the Drake May and the Hunter Henry stack. So we could do that one. And then the other one will maybe build around the CJ Stroud and Nico Collins stack, because that's a little bit more expensive. But we could build this one starting around this one and go from there, see what we can make happen for this lineup. I like, when I'm looking at some of these other options at the running back position, I like the matchups there in Detroit. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, they're good plays. I like Derrick Henry's matchup this week. He should feast. Brian Robinson Jr. should feast. Isaiah Pacheco, we talked about the weather. Maybe they give him a little bit more running. I think that's an option that could happen as well. Wide receiver-wise, we'll probably have to get into that one after one. But let's potentially get one of these Detroit Lions running backs in here. I like one of those matchups. Gibbs is more expensive than Monty, about $500 more. So maybe we start with Monty. If we have leftover money, we can go up and get a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs and build that around them. I'm going to also try and put Brian Robinson. Like I said, I like his matchup, so we'll try and sneak him into there as well. And this is kind of going to build out a budget roster. Maybe we also sneak in a guy like Pacheco as a flex. Where's he at? There we go. So he would be the flex. And now we got to build out the rest of this. Defensive special teams, I'll just knock that one out of the way, because then we can focus everything else on wide receiver. Budget plays, Philly versus Pittsburgh. I think Houston versus Miami is a decent play right now. And I also feel like Washington against New Orleans probably makes sense. So I'm probably going to end up going with Washington, especially because we got Jake Haener in at QB. So I'm probably going to go Commanders here and make that happen. Cam says, just dropped Hopkins, told the Fantasy League group chat to enjoy him now that he'll crack 20 points weekly. But in all seriousness, I'm playing Thielen over him rest of the season if it comes down to that. Cheers, Andrew. Appreciate you, Cam. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a tough drop. Somebody's going to go pick him up, and here's the thing with Hopkins. He gives you, 3 weeks of where he scores sub 10, and then he'll give you a boom week where he goes for 20, 25. So Hopefully he just doesn't have those boom weeks in the playoffs for your sake, but maybe for other sakes they want him to have those boom weeks. So what do we got? We got about $17,000, $17,500 left for this team. We'll see if we can build something together. Why don't we go something like, we're just going budget here, man. I want to go something somewhat expensive. Maybe a Mike Evans, maybe a Tyreek Hill, potentially. Maybe we go Tyreek. If we went Tyreek, that leaves us $10,100. So we could go. I wanted to go Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore, but that would make it. I think that would take us over the budget. Yeah, that would take us over the budget. So we got to come up with $200. So we could take that out and we could go Mike Evans, and that would be the first team. May, Montgomery, B-Rob, Evans, Cooper, Elijah, Henry, Pacheco, and then the Commanders defense. That's probably the first one that we end up doing. So why don't we just enter that one here and go from there. And then we'll do one more and then probably get out of here. Let's see what else we can do here. My lineups, I think it just entered it twice. We're going to have to clear one of those out. Where are we at, man? Struggling here. Hawkinson or Jonnu? I like Hawkinson more this week. What we got here, man? This is I accidentally submitted a second one. I'm trying to figure out if I can just edit the second lineup here. Maybe it'll let me do it. Okay. Well, we were able to withdraw that one entry, so we can at least do one more. See what that ends up looking like. Go back, contests, go from there. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Okay, we should be good here. Let me pull that back up. We'll do this one, and then we'll get on out of here, like I said. Okay, so here's one more. Like we did, we just did that one about the CJ Stroud, or we did that one about the Drake May and the Hunter Henry stack. We'll do this one around Nico Collins and CJ Stroud. What do we got? CJ Stroud here. Wide receiver Nico Collins. So that's what we want to build this lineup around. We'll have to budget some other places. Frederick says Neighbors or Thielen, Papa. I'm gonna go with Neighbors still here, man. I think he's still a safe play and he still has upside. So I'm gonna go Neighbors. They're close to my rankings though. But now that we have those, I also apologize if you guys hear like a car alarm outside. I don't know if the mic's picking it up. Hopefully it's not. I can hear a car alarm through my headphones, so I know that it's going crazy right now. For our defense, I think I'm gonna go. We're gonna go budget here. We're gonna go Eagles. Defense, they shouldn't be super expensive, about $3,100, so we'll go them. With George Pickens out, Russell Wilson is going to be throwing against one of the worst, or throwing to one of the worst pass catching groups in the NFL this week. So Mike Williams, some of these other guys, it ain't going to be great. Brees or Dowdle. This is close to me. I've been preaching probably play Brees and live with the consequences. But Dowdle is higher in my rankings, actually. I probably end up playing Dowdle this week, full PPR. So we have that. At the tight end position, we're also going to go budget because we spent up on Nico. So we're probably going to have to go with, like, I don't know. We can go with like a Jake Ferguson and keep it cheap. Go there. Then we're going to have to be cheap elsewhere as well. Probably end up going over some running backs that I potentially go with, like a Chuba. And then we could also go with maybe a Rico. He's still somewhat expensive. We might have to go a little bit cheaper than that, actually. Maybe we end up going... What if we end up going with, like... I still kind of want to go Dowdle. What if we do that and we can get cheap at wide receiver? It's easier to get cheap at wide receiver. We got $16,000 left. Cam says Ertz or Kraft rest of season. League playoffs are week 16, 17, 18. Probably lean Kraft. I just think he has more upside in that Packers offense. So we can try and get cheap here. If we want to get cheap at wide receiver outside of Collins, we could go for a Thielen. We've been talking about Thielen as a play. We could go for Thielen here, and then we could also go with maybe something cheap around this range. I like the Elijah Moore play. We might go Josh Downs. That feels like a cheap play as well. We could probably go Downs. He is playing for certain, I think. Yeah, is expected to play. So we can go Downs. And then for our flex, what do we got? $5,700. Is there a running back we can get in there for $5,700? We could sneak in Tyrone Tracy. Make this our final play. Who else is around that range? Waddle. I do like the Waddle, but we don't have yeah, I actually like that better because we don't have that defense. Let's go with Waddle. That'll give us Stroud, Hubbard, Dowdle, Collins, Thielen, Downs, Ferguson, Waddle. I don't mind this at all. We might... Yeah, I think that's the lineup we're going to end up going with. So we'll submit that one. Go from there. That'll take us out. So those are the two teams. We kind of do that just to kill some time. I noticed that we weren't getting a ton of questions there coming in at the end. So let's do that. And I think that's it, man. We don't have many other questions coming in. So we have been at about an hour at this point. So appreciate you guys for being in here. Appreciate you guys for answering questions this morning. Good luck in your Week 15 championships. Or not Week 15 championship, Week 15 playoff matchups. Hopefully you guys can advance towards that championship. As always, we're going to be recapping the whole Sunday slate tomorrow. We will be answering all of those questions that you have after what we see today. Hopefully you advance, like I said. And hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, go join the free Discord, do all of those good things for me. And other than that, man, nothing else for you guys today. We will see you on the next one. Good luck. Till then, peace out.